Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is this right here. So if that looks interesting to you guys, please carry on and watch the video. And also just one more thing, if you enjoy what I do here, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really helps me out and it lets me know you guys enjoy these videos. So with all that out of the way guys, let's get into that video. Alright, since we're going to be painting a green dragon, of course the natural colour we want to start off with is green, and I want to start off with a nice dark green here. I've got rift green, and of course we want to start with a dark layer of green because I want this to be the base tone and also the shadows. So we're going to be highlighting up and stuff like that, so we want to start off with a nice deep green, and the rift green is great for what I want to do here, but totally up to you what type of green you want to use as you're painting this up, but a nice dark green is a good place to start. Also too, with these miniatures, since this here is a Wizkids miniature, it's already pre-primed, so you don't have to worry about priming it. You can get straight into it. Maybe just clean up a mold line or two if you see it, but otherwise you can get straight into the painting. Okay, so now I have that base layer of our rift green done. What I'm going to do now is come in with some hemp rope. This is a yellowish green, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be stippling this on the underbelly of our dragon to get a nice yellow underbelly area, give us a differentiation in some colours and add a little bit of interest. Also too, you might notice that I didn't paint everywhere in this dragon entirely green. What I've done is I've left out some key areas like in between the webbing of the wings there. As well as that, he also has some prominent back plates on him, these nice big back plate scales. I've also left them out as well as the top of the head because I want to be painting them in a different colour green to add in some interest. So you might want to do this as well to add in a bit more variety and give it a little bit more spice with green dragon. So giving some differentiated colours is really going to help separate it out from just being straight green with some highlight. Okay, now we're happy with our underbelly. What we're going to do now is come with some goblin green, which is a lighter green, and I'm going to be using this to paint in some of the highlights. Now, the areas I'm aiming for here are the muscles of the dragon here in the highlights and some of the raised areas. I'm actually not going to be focusing on highlighting the little scales he has on his feet there and his arms and other little parts of him. I'm going to be leaving those plates for a different highlighting color, and instead I'm just going to be focusing on all of the raised areas of the muscle that's poking out. As you can see, this dragon is big and strong and he's got some nice prominent muscles, so a lot of cool areas to highlight on this miniature. Then once you have those raised areas picked out with his muscles, what we're going to do now is come in with a wash, and I'm going to be using a green wash to do this to help tie the colours in together. As well as that, I'm also going to be washing over that underbelly as well, just to tie everything in together, and we'll come in a bit later with some highlights, but I wanted to make sort of a smoother transition, and going with a green wash rather than a brown or a black wash here is going to help with that. So I've used athonian camoshade here, but totally up to you if you want to go with a different coloured wash. It will change the colours slightly as a wash does, but if you want to tie them in together and make them sort of a little bit more uniform, like they're more blended steps, you want to go with a green wash here. Then once that wash is completely dry, we're going to come in with another green here, and this one here is, as you can see, greenskin flesh. Now this here is sort of your typical green, your nice vibrant bright green, sort of like the default color of green that I think of when someone tells me green, but we want to go with something a lot brighter and more vibrant here, and this is what we're going to be using for those nice big scale plating that our dragon has on him. And as well as that too, I'm also going to be picking out all the little ones that he has on his feet there as well, and in other little places. So just a matter of coming in, going around and finding all those little plates and picking them out. This is going to be, of course, another tedious process, so I'm going to paint them all up nicely individually, so don't be afraid to take some time here and really get in those scales, and don't forget to look out all those little ones that he has on his feet in there as well. It may be a little bit tedious, but trust me, it's going to look nice in the end. Now we have all those nice scaly plates all painted up on his body. We're going to go into his mouth now, and I'm going to be using scar tissue for this. This is a light pinkish color, and I'm going to be using this to paint all of his mouth, all inside, get his tongue, his areas of his cheeks, everywhere you can see, get the brush right up in there. Now trust me, this is super difficult with his mouth being slightly open and his teeth really close together, so don't be afraid to get in there and really jam your brush in. You can always paint over other steps if you need to. You accidentally hit places you don't want to, but it's a great place to practice your brush control. Then after that, we want to give our area a good wash, and I'm going to be using Carroburg Crimson for this. This here is a red wash, and I want it to enhance all of that pinkish color we have in there and really give it a really worked mouth look. And it's going to, of course, highlight all of those details by it pooling into all those little recessed areas and just show the awesome little bits of sculpted detail in that face. Then once we have that wash completely dry, what we're going to be doing now is coming in with some ivory, and this here is an off-white color, and I'm going to be using it to pick out our dragon's teeth. And of course you could go with a complete white here, but I think it's a little too bright, and ivory being just that muted down color is going to help out just a little bit. So as you can see, I've switched to a finer tip brush here so I can really pick out those teeth nice and easily. So then once you have those teeth all painted up, what we want to do is come in with some seraphim sepia wash and wash those down, because as you can see, he's got nice bright sparkly teeth. He looks like he brushes his teeth every day, and I don't really want that. I want to give it a little bit more of a realistic look, so coming with that sepia tone wash is really going to go sort of make those teeth look like they've been used, and they're grotty and they're very nasty looking and they look more realistic. Now that we have his mouth complete, what we're going to do now is come in with another colour. This here is Scaly Hide, which is just a slightly different coloured green from our goblin green, a little bit more lighter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be painting all of the webbing in his wings, so all of those areas between those little fingery bits. And what you want to do is carefully pick those out, and as you can see, it has a bit of contrast in colour from our other areas. Now you could totally make this the exact same green, but I want a little bit more interest than that. And of course the way you can do that is by adding in a slightly different colour. And you can see it may not sound like it makes a lot of difference, but as you can see here, just between these two colours of green that we use from our highlight colour, our base colour, and then now this colour here, and even our scale colour, they're all very separate greens, and you can totally see them being distinct from one another, and it really does add in a lot of extra visual interest. So then once we have that complete, what we're going to do is come in with another wash, and this time I'm going to be using Casandora Yellow. So this here is a yellow wash, as the name implies, and all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be applying this to the areas we've just done. So this here is the webbing of our wings, as well as those plated areas on his back and all those ones on his arms. I'm going to be giving them all a wash with the yellow here, and as you can see, it immediately and distinctively changes the color when you apply a yellow wash over a green. It really gives a very unique color choice and really vamps it up, and I think it really helps give you an eye-catching piece. Of course, we're going to do some things to change this slightly, but it's giving a different wash in a different place from our green wash is a great way, even if you have the exact same colors painted in different places, just by adding in different washes to different places, you can really change the effect of the paint. So this is what I'm doing here to give it a nice, awesome visual interest. Then once we have the wash completely dried on those places, what I'm going to be doing now is coming in with some matte black, and I'm going to be using this to be painting in our dragon's claws. So totally up to you what you want to do here, what colour you want to use for your claws here. I'm just going with a nice classic black. As well as that too, don't forget the little claws he has just on his wings too. He's got a little finger poking out of his wing, so don't forget to get that as you're painting up the claws. Then once we have that complete, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be highlighting the scales of our dragon here. All the nice big prominent ones we did in that vibrant green. And I'm using jungle green to do this, which is even more vibrant again, almost like fluorescent in colour. Very, very bright and vibrant colour. And I'm going to be using this for just painting out the edges of the scales. So going around picking them out and just sort of giving them a nice stripe and striation pattern on them, just to give them a little bit of interest. And I'm just doing it on sort of the edges of the scales, making them look a little bit worn, but also giving them an awesome highlight. So it's just a matter of going around the dragon and picking out all these little areas. Again, another time-consuming process, but you can totally choose where you want to do these. If you just want to highlight the big, nice ones on his back, totally go for that. I'm going to go around and picking out a whole bunch of different ones, just all over the miniature. Then once we have those scales picked out and you're happy with it, what we're going to do is we're going to come in and highlight inside the winged webbing areas, and this is just instead of changing it to a different color, I'm making the original color we did. So this is our scaly hide here. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be picking out sort of the edges and the most stretched out areas of our webbing here. And I am sort of stippling it on here, giving it a rough pattern. I'm not worried, I'm not trying to paint it in, I'm just stippling it on, trying to give it some little highlighted areas and making it sort of random, and hopefully come out sort of random and unique. And you can see sort of like it's a highlighted area where the sun's beaming through and giving this lighter color in between that webbing areas. That's my plan anyway. We'll see how it comes out in the end, but just giving it some more visual interest. But if you totally wanted to leave it the way it was because you're happy with the color, which I actually really was, totally up to you, but just another option here to your miniature. So while I was doing that webbing, I also felt that the underbelly was looking a little dull with our wash, so I wanted to bring the vibrancy back in with that. So all I've done is come back in with the exact same color, which is our hemp rope, and stippled that on as well to give it some of that specular sort of highlighting in the areas and making that random pattern. So just coming back over it again and highlighting that area up, because of course we tried to blend it in with our wash, and I just wanted to highlight it up to give it that more prominent sort of feature on the model. So just coming in and doing that nice and easily and quick. And then once we've done that, we just have one more piece of the miniature to paint up, and that is of course the really difficult area to paint, and that is of course the eyeball here. So I'm gone with a nice flat yellow for this, and because I'm focusing on painting the eye, you can't see me in camera because it's out of focus and it's always a pain. So don't be afraid if it takes you a few tries. As you can see here, immediately screw it up because I'm also trying to keep it in camera, and you can see it's out of focus, and then I put it wrong on the actual miniature itself. So don't be afraid to take your time, brace yourself to try and keep your hand from shaking too much, and try and get that paint on there nicely to where you're happy with it. But with all that, we have finished painting up our dragon, so let's go into those glamour shots and see how it came out in the end. And there you have it. With all that completed, we have finally finished painting up our green dragon from the Dungeons and Dragons range by Wizkids. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys, and whether you want to follow along with what I did here, or you just want to use this video as inspiration and painting up your own miniatures. But with all that said guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.